Time now for the Nick Hart Show, our weekly chat with the head coach of the Gibson Southern Titans, Nick Hart. It's brought to you by the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including Absolute Custom Machine LLC, ADG Architecture and Design Group Limited, Angermeyer Electric, Brett's Car Care, A&T Concrete Supply, Brian Stevens Homes, Carriage Inn, Chips, SellMyTees.com, by Cordray Insurance Agency, LLC, Shelter Insurance, by Davis Brothers, Daylight Land Management, LLC, Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Dilbeck Properties, Diversified Instruments, Duke Energy, Emerson Cattle Company, ERA First Advantage Realty, Rodney Langford, by Fast Break Convenience Stores, by Flanders, by Fort Branch Car Wash, Foster Construction, Bryman Land Service LLC, by Hobstadt Summerfest, by Heritage Federal Credit Union, Heritage Petroleum, Hillside Gardens Landscaping and Garden Center, HMC Gears, in memory of Darwin and Eric Callis, by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, Nathan Belote, by Jarbo Tax Service, JMCO Technologies, Johnson Commercial Mowing Incorporated, K&K Excavating Incorporated, Casey Fuquay, State Farm Agent, Kathy Solman Photography, Key Construction Company Incorporated, Kiesel Wagner Survey LLC, by Lively Machine Company, by Landscape Supply Incorporated, Lowry Ag, by Mytech Systems, Morton Solar LLC, by National Vet Health, by Ohio Valley Grain Inspection Incorporated, also by Parker Excavating, Perfect Climate Heating, Air and Plumbing, by Pole Concrete Construction, Prodigy Mold and Tool Incorporated, by Pro Rehab of Hobstadt, Prudential Advisors, The Barthel Agency, Rawhide Golf Supplies, Riano Family Fitness, Sandy's Pizza and Mini Storage, Shearer Monument, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Singleton's Country Kennel, Stodgel Funeral Home, Team Black Law, PC, by Tai Chow, The Brass Ring and Pizza Kitchen, The Image Inks Company, Titan Construction Partners, TYFL, the Titan Youth Football League, by Varnado Construction, Vomac Truck Sales and Service Incorporated, We Simply Clean, by Whitledge Tree Service, and Young's Auto Body. The Nick Hart Show, a special production of the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department.
But first, as always, before the interview with Coach Nick Hart, a look at the stats from last week's loss against the Heritage Hills Patriots. Zach Foster in the rushing game, 14 attempts, 23 yards. Chase Thaxton, 13 attempts, 35 yards. Gunnar Alexander, 3 attempts, 7 yards. Eli Foster, 4 attempts, 14 yards. In the passing game, Zach Foster went 9 for 20, 108 yards, and 4 interceptions. In the receiving game, Grant Stinson, 4 receptions, 35 yards. Chase Thaxton, 1 reception, 7 yards. Maddox Potts, 1 reception, 13 yards. Seth Parsons, 3 receptions, 53 yards. And now to the interview with Coach Nick Hart. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Coach Nick Hart Show. I'm Riley Angel here with you. Coach, first of all, just overall your thoughts on Saturday's game, and how do you think the weather played a role in it?
It played a role, but both teams had to play in the same conditions. I thought Heritage Hills handled stuff better than us, and that's a credit to them. I thought, they kind of came out with the mentality of we're going to win regardless of the conditions, and I think we, and I'll throw myself in there included, did not do a good job of being prepared and accepting what it was, and going out and playing well. So overall thoughts was it was not pretty. It was and again, a lot of that has to do, I think Heritage Hills is a really good football team, but I don't think our execution or just competitiveness was at the level of where we expect Gibson Southern football to be. So it was not pretty, and it was not um, you know what you would expect in a big game like that. I just thought there's a lot of things that happened outside of our control. Um, the game getting changed, the weather, some other things, and we didn't do a very good job of controlling what we could control. And I thought that's what Heritage Hills did an excellent job of is they just controlled what they could, and that's a credit to their kids and their coaches, and something that we've got to get better at and improve at. And it starts with me. And it was just a disappointing product that I thought that we had on Saturday.
Now, do you think an outcome like that could play a motivating role going on into the season, into the postseason, where you might see them again?
It can. That's up to us to decide. And I don't think so much of like just playing them again. I think sometimes you can not perform well and get your rear end kicked, and it can be a nice kick in the pants to your football team and your program moving forward. I think sometimes you can kind of mail it in at that point, and so we got to decide what direction we want to go as a football team. I did think, at half, not the we still made a lot of mistakes, and there was some missed things, but I thought in the second half, we competed at a much higher level. I thought, or the kids kind of answered the challenge of that at halftime. And again, I'd like us to play better football, but I thought that the competitiveness and the way that we were trying to perform improved greatly in the second half. I thought we kind of blinked a little bit in the first half, and we had a little bit of woe is me attitude, and I thought it was very, especially offensively, a lot of individual type stuff. And so I thought our kids did respond well after half when we were kind of able to have that conversation. But then it becomes we just got to play better football. And you make the mistakes that we made, and you turn the ball over that many times against a good team, and you blow a coverage, and you do some of that type of stuff against a good team. It's not going to be a fun day. But I did think in the second half we answered the bell a little bit from a competitive standpoint. But yeah, I think when something like this happens, you have two options. You can pick yourself off the mat and get a heck of a lot better. And time's ticking, right? We're going to be talking here in a few weeks, and it's going to be somebody's putting their pads up time. But other teams can kind of have a instance like this and just kind of continue that woe is me attitude. And so we'll see what happens. I think we'll go the right direction. We're going to do everything as a staff to make sure that we do. And the response that we had after half makes me believe that we will. But time will tell, and we got a short amount of time to get a lot better here as we get ready to head into the tournament.
When we return to the Coach Nick Hart Show, we'll talk about the winding down season and how Washington will probably come out on Friday with a ton of energy.
You're listening to The Nick Hart Show, brought to you by Heritage Federal Credit Union, Heritage Petroleum, Hillside Gardens Landscaping and Garden Center, HMC Gears, in memory of Darwin and Eric Callis, by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, Nathan Belote, by Jarbo Tax Service, JMCO Technologies, Johnson Commercial Mowing Incorporated, K&K Excavating Incorporated, Casey Fuquay, State Farm Agent, Kathy Solman Photography, Key Construction Company Incorporated, Kiesel Wagner Survey LLC, by Lively Machine Company, by Landscape Supply Incorporated, Lowry Ag, by Mytech Systems, Morton Solar LLC, by National Vet Health, by Ohio Valley Grain Inspection Incorporated, Parker Excavating, and by Perfect Climate Heating, Air, and Plumbing.
And you mentioned not a lot of games left, only 3 games in the regular season. And at this point in the year, it always seems like there's heightened energy, especially in the seniors, knowing that their year is coming to an end. How do you make sure that they are able to harness that energy and going out there and being able to try and win instead of not trying to lose?
That's a good question. Because I think you especially in the tournament, you can see some teams panic because of the urgency. We're not there yet. There's still 3 games left to play, and I think right now our focus is just on getting better. And we're going to try and put our kids here in the next few weeks through practice and stuff, in some adverse situations, because I think that when we faced a little adversity on Saturday, I didn't think we did a very good job of fighting through it until we were able to take a breath at halftime, and it was too late. And in a few weeks, if it's too late, by the time you take a breath and calm down, then you're going to be turning your pads in. So I think that's one thing we've got to handle better. We've lost one of the best leaders on our football team to injury, and so we need some guys to step up and be leaders in those adverse times where we got some guys being that calming influence and being leaders, and giving us the ability to kind of take a breath and continue to play.
Now, this Friday, you're playing a Washington team that coming into this week has a lot of confidence. They're 5-1 so far. How do you go into that game and make sure that Washington doesn't come out with a bunch of energy and tries to punch you guys in the mouth?
Well, I'm sure they will. I think a lot of credit to Joe and those guys up there, and their kids, the way that they've kind of built this thing up. I think they're playing really good football, and there's you watch what happened to us last week. There, if you're a Shark, there's blood in the water right now, and I think they rightfully so believe they can come in here and stand toe to toe with us and compete with us. And so I think we've got to have a great week of practice and be prepared and come out, and like I said, we got to kind of pick ourselves up off the mat. It's a new week. It wasn't fun on Saturday, and we're not certainly proud of what happened. But it is the regular season, and the sun came up on Sunday, and I talked about time's ticking. The other way to look at it is we got 3 weeks to get better here, and we got to seize the most of that opportunity and have a great week of practice this week, and come out Friday, ready to play. It's a big day here. It's our school's 50th anniversary, so just so everybody knows, kickoff's at 6. It's early, kind of with some of those festivities. So I think we'll have a great crowd. I think it'll be a great atmosphere, celebrating the 50th year of Gibson Southern High School, and so we got to get better and play and perform better. But we want to do something Friday and play at a level that everybody can be proud of, that's coming back in and for this celebration.
When we return to the Nick Hart Show, we talk about an expected large crowd on Friday and game planning for the Washington Hatchets.
You're dialed in to the Nick Hart Show, brought to you by Pole Concrete Construction, Prodigy Mold and Tool Incorporated, by Pro Rehab of Hobstadt, Prudential Advisors, The Barthel Agency, Rawhide Golf Supplies, Riano Family Fitness, Sandy's Pizza and Mini Storage, Shearer Monument, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Singleton's Country Kennel, Stodgel Funeral Home, Team Black Law PC, by Tai Chow, The Brass Ring and Pizza Kitchen, The Image Inks Company, Titan Construction Partners, TYFL, the Titan Youth Football League, by Varnado Construction, Vomac Truck Sales and Service Incorporated, We Simply Clean, by Whitledge Tree Service, and Young's Auto Body. Time to go back now to the Nick Hart Show.
And with that 50th year celebration, expecting a big crowd, we talked about it a little bit when you guys played against South Warren on homecoming week, but how does that home atmosphere feed onto the field?
Yeah, it definitely helps. We have great crowds here, and it's always great to be at home and in front of your fans, and having that great atmosphere. And we're a little out of routine because of the early kickoff, but it'll feel good after last week to be in a normal routine where you go to school and kind of go through that normal game day routine. As opposed to a cancel game and playing on Saturday, just kind of get back into that flow. And then obviously, having our fans behind us and playing on your home field, is certainly a big deal. And, it's, week 7 and this is our third home game of the year. So it's going to be nice to be at home here for a couple weeks and, just kind of get back into that flow.
Now, with the game being on Saturday, does that affect any of the preparation practice-wise going into the week?
Last week's game being on Saturday, no, it didn't, because we didn't know until Friday morning that we were playing on Saturday. So we just kind of went through a normal week. I think it's more we did not handle well. And that's what I kind of talked about. I thought Heritage Hills handled the things they could control better. Some of those things you can't control, and I didn't think we did a good job of handling a lot of those things and coming out ready to play. I just, the whole pregame thing, and we had some weird things happen to us on Saturday as a team, and I don't think that helped. But I'm not making excuses. I just, the vibe before the game, I did not feel good that we were, ready to come out and compete and play at a high level. And so, sometimes you get those feelings and you're wrong. Sometimes you're right. And, I think that feeling was a good one not a good one, but it was correct on Saturday. So, no, we didn't change anything just because we didn't know, because of the weather and stuff that the game was going to get moved to Saturday. So it was just kind of a, change on the fly type of deal.
Now, looking forward to Friday, you're playing another offense that has looked really good throughout this year. What's the game plan defensively without giving too much away?
Yeah, they do a great job of throwing the ball around. I think they move a lot pre-snap. So, coverage wise, just making sure that we're getting into the correct coverage on the back end of the defense to when they go from trips to doubles or doubles to trips or bunch to doubles or whatever they're moving to, just making sure that we communicate and we're in something that's correct. It doesn't have to be the perfect call, but just make sure we're all on the same page and we don't bust a coverage on the back end. And then, one thing we kind of talked about to the defense yesterday is, we have not given up very many. And because Cam's a weapon, there's a lot of times that teams have to go 80 yards. And not often this year has a team gone and moved the ball down the field against our defense without a big play in the drive to really go. We haven't had a whole lot of like 10-play, 80-yard drives against our defense. So I think if you have to consistently move the ball down the field, against our defense, it becomes very difficult. What we got to do a better job of is limiting the home runs and some of the big plays that we have given up, through the course of the year, and accept that fact and make people drive the football down the field against us. We talked about, um, you know 1 week on here, how good our defense has been on third down situations, and so we got to get people to third down, to have a chance to get off the field and not give up some of those big plays, and that goes for Washington on Friday. Because of the way they throw the ball, they have a chance to hit big plays on you. They screen you really well. They push the ball down the field. They got some receivers that can do stuff with it after the catch, and I think the Stowers kid at quarterback does a really good job of distributing the football for them. So, we got to be able to put some pressure on him, and stay in front of their receivers and make them drive the ball down the field.
And now, as an offense, what does it take for the players and as a coaching staff to flip the script after this past Saturday where you guys didn't score?
Yeah, it hadn't happened to us very often. So just kind of talked about you gotta pick yourself up off the mat. I think we addressed some things that happened on Saturday, but it's a little bit of we can't do it anymore because everything's online and you'd have to bury a computer. But back in the day, you've seen the clips of people would bury the film or set it on fire or whatever, kind of get it out of your your memory and move forward and move on. And that's what we did. I thought some things offensively that were an issue for us was stuff that is not necessarily shown on film. I think we've got to do a better job of competing and playing for each other, and being better teammates. And that's not something you can show on film. So we kind of had a heart-to-heart talk on Monday. We quote unquote buried the film, and we're moving forward and getting ready for this week, and getting prepared for Washington, and hopefully coming back and getting back on track as an offense.
When we return to the Nick Hart Show, we talk about little improvements to the run game and how this offense can find a little bit more consistency.
The Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash is brought to you by Absolute Custom Machine LLC, ADG Architecture and Design Group Limited, Hangermeyer Electric, A&T Concrete Supply, Brian Stevens Homes, Brett's Car Care, Carriage Inn, Chips, SellMyTees.com, by Cordray Insurance Agency LLC Shelter Insurance, by Davis Brothers, Daylight Land Management LLC, Daywig Meats of Hobstadt, Dillbeck Properties, Diversified Instruments, Duke Energy, Emerson Cattle Company, ERA First Advantage Realty, Rodney Langford, by Fast Break Convenience Stores, by Flanders, by Fort Branch Car Wash, Foster Construction, Bryman Land Service LLC, by Hobstadt Summerfest, and by Wabash Valley College.
So now with that performance behind you, how do you look forward offensively for the game plan wise without giving too much?
Yeah, I think whether it's the run game or the throw game, they like to bring a lot of pressure. So I think the key to us is whether again it's in the running game or in the passing game. We got to do a good job of picking up their pressure, identifying their pressure, following our rules to make sure that it gets picked up. I think that gives you a chance to have success against them because they really like to bring pressure from their linebackers. So making sure that we have that picked up. We got to get our running game going a little bit. I thought in the second half of the Southridge game, it really came alive. But I think we got to be more consistent up front in the running game to give us a little bit more balance offensively. And then, like I said, pressure is the big thing this week to make sure that we pick everything up.
Now, with getting the running game going, is that more of an issue up front with the line or the backs not finding the right holes to push through?
Yeah, it's not our backs. I think our backs are running well, and it's not all the O-line. We got to do a better job blocking on the perimeter. Better job up front. I thought Saturday we did a really good job first level in our run blocking schemes, but second level, and again, a credit to their linebackers. I think their linebacking core is very good. So we knew they were going to make some plays, but I thought we missed some stuff second level that would have opened up some more stuff in the running game, and we got to do a better job of getting on linebackers on second level with some of our run scheme stuff. I think we're doing a fine job on the first level. It's when we work up to the second level and fitting up on linebackers and giving our backs a chance to cut off of them. And then we got to do better with our tight ends and receivers in the perimeter run blocking game. So when stuff gets bounced or goes to the outside, that we're a little bit better locked on the perimeter. So it kind of goes back to I didn't think 2 games where we've really struggled offensively in Danville and Heritage Hills. I didn't think we did a good job of those 2 things, the perimeter blocking and the second level blocking. And, to me, that kind of goes back to being a good teammate and playing for your teammates and, not worrying about when I get the ball, worrying about, making sure that our offense has success. That's to me what we've got to improve at as an offense. And if we can do that, then we got a chance to be pretty good. We've had flashes of being really good offensively this year. We've had flashes of being really bad offensively this year. And so, we got 3 weeks here to get it right, to, where we can go into the tournament, hopefully playing really well on that side of the ball and give ourselves a chance for success come tournament time.
Now, we know that Washington obviously throws the ball very well with Stowers, but they also have a guy averaging over 100 yards a game rushing. How do you balance that in keeping back and dropping back for the pass, but also being aware that they have a very nice running game?
Yeah, they do. Like I said, I think they do a really good job offensively. Some of their movement, can really get you kind of moving around and running around, getting your eyes in the wrong place. So, I think for us, it's, the game's changed a little bit with people playing in the spread and throwing the ball around and stuff, but it still comes back to, winning the line of scrimmage. If you win the line of scrimmage, it's going to help us in both, aspects. We're going to be able to, get some pressure on the queue, and it's going to make their run game a little bit more difficult. So, we got to play well up front, defensively, and like you said, kind of mix in, when we're putting, 6 in the box against their look, when we're putting 5 in the box, kind of mix up those looks, mix up man, mix up zone. Some stuff that we've done well, I think, this year defensively, and mix in some pressure stuff. Kind of try and mix it up and not let them know, what they're going to see each down.
All right, Coach. And lastly, you talked about improvements with this team. I'm sure you're expecting marginal improvements instead of wholesale changes.
Yeah, I mean, we've played at a high level at times this year, but I think it's been sporadic. And again, there's some things that have happened that we can't control. We have to worry about what we can control and focus on us and continue to get better. I think I don't know. I mean, it is technically improvement, but I think consistency is maybe a better word than improvement. We need that high level of play to become more consistent. I think it's just kind of been inconsistent as we've gone through the year. And you're looking to get back to that level of playing at a really high level consistently. And it starts in practice, and hopefully we see a better level of consistency on Friday, and we can kind of stack a few weeks together here to get ready for the tournament.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you so much for the time, and good luck this Friday.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Nick Hart Show, our weekly chat with the head coach of the Gibson Southern Titans, Nick Hart. It's brought to you by the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including Absolute Custom Machine LLC, ADG Architecture and Design Group Limited, Angermeyer Electric, A&T Concrete Supply, Brian Stevens Homes, Brett's Car Care, Carriage Inn, Chips, SellMyTees.com, by Cordray Insurance Agency LLC Shelter Insurance, by Davis Brothers, Daylight Land Management LLC, Daywig Meats of Hobstock, Dilbeck Properties, Diversified Instruments, Duke Energy, Emerson Cattle Company, ERA First Advantage Realty Rodney Langford, by Fast Break Convenience Stores, by Flanders, by Fort Branch Car Wash, Foster Construction, Bryman Land Service LLC, by Hobstadt Summerfest, by Heritage Federal Credit Union, Heritage Petroleum, Hillside Gardens Landscaping and Garden Center, HMC Gears, in memory of Darwin and Eric Callis, by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Nathan Belote, by Jarbo Tax Service, JMCO Technologies, Johnson Commercial Mowing Incorporated, K&K Excavating Incorporated, Casey Fuquay, State Farm Agent, Kathy Solman Photography, Key Construction Company Incorporated, Kiesel Wagner Survey LLC, by Lively Machine Company, by Landscape Supply Incorporated, Lowry Ag, by Mytech Systems, Morton Solar LLC, by National Vet Help, by Ohio Valley Grain Inspection Incorporated, also by Parker Excavating, Perfect Climate Heating, Air and Plumbing, by Pole Concrete Construction, Prodigy Mold and Tool Incorporated, by Pro Rehab of Hobstadt, Prudential Advisors, The Barthel Agency, Rawhide Golf Supplies, Riano Family Fitness, Sandy's Pizza and Mini Storage, Shearer Monument, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, Singleton's Country Kennel, Stodgel Funeral Home, Team Black Law PC, by Tai Chow, The Brass Ring and Pizza Kitchen, The Image Inks Company, Titan Construction Partners, TYFL, the Titan Youth Football League, by Varnado Construction, Vomac Truck Sales and Service Incorporated, We Simply Clean, by Whitledge Tree Service, and Young's Auto Body. The Nick Hart Show, a special production of the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department.